Have you ever wondered how a single prayer could shift your entire perspective on life and your relationship with God? What if the key to understanding God's plan for the world and your place in it is hidden in a prayer you might have memorized as a child? Let's explore how the words of Jesus himself, in the Lord's Prayer, can guide you through life's toughest challenges and its deepest questions. Prayer is a mysterious act. It's rooted in the belief that we can speak directly to God, the creator of the universe. But where do we begin in the Sermon on the Mount? Found in Matthew chapters 5 through 7, Jesus gave his disciples a simple yet profound prayer, the Lord's Prayer. This short but powerful prayer is divided into two parts, each with three petitions. The first part focuses on God's holy purposes for the world. The second addresses our daily essential needs. Though brief, this prayer offers a completely new way of seeing the world, inviting us to live in trust and connection with God. Part 1, Honoring God's Purpose. Jesus begins the prayer with these words, "Our Father, who art in heaven." Matthew 6:9. In heaven doesn't mean God is far away, tucked somewhere in the sky. It points to his power, his universal presence above all things. In God's realm, he reigns as king, where his will and purposes are always fulfilled. But here's what's striking: Jesus doesn't call him king. He says, "Our Father." It's a bold, intimate address. It shows that God isn't just mighty, but a loving Father who sees us as his cherished children. Romans 8:15, the Bible teaches that God appointed humanity as his representatives, his beloved children, to reflect his wisdom and rule on earth. Genesis 1:26-28, NEO. Yet, the story of Scripture also reveals that humanity often rejects this calling, leading to mistakes and chaos. The prayer continues, "Hallowed be thy name." The word hallowed might sound strange, but in Scripture it points to God's unique position. He is the source of all reality, the author of life itself. God chose Israel, tying his holy name to them, setting them apart as his sacred representatives among the nations. Exodus 19:5-6. But like all of humanity, they failed, bringing shame to God's name when empires conquered them. Still, prophets like Ezekiel foretold a day when God would restore his holy name. Ezekiel 36:23. How through a new representative, Jesus, he announced the coming of God's kingdom, bringing his holiness and goodness to the world. This leads to the next petition, "Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." This is a bold cry for heaven and earth to unite, where God's will is fully realized on earth, just as it is in heaven. Jesus taught that when we love God and our neighbors, when we live with his generosity and justice, we're joining in his kingdom. Matthew 22:37-40. Every act of love, every choice for justice, is a step toward bringing God's kingdom closer, making this prayer a reality. Part 2, Trusting in Daily Needs. The second half of the Lord's Prayer shifts to the practical concerns of life. "Give us this day our daily bread." Matthew 6:11. It's a simple yet profound request, reminding us to trust in God's provision. This echoes the story of Israel in the wilderness, when God sent manna from heaven, just enough for each day. Exodus 16:4. It was a challenging time when the people didn't know where their next meal would come from. Jesus' audience, many of them poor, living under Roman oppression, knew this insecurity well. He invites them, and us, to follow their ancestors' example, trusting that God will provide our most basic needs day by day. The prayer continues, "Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us." Forgiveness lies at the heart of Jesus' teaching. He proclaimed that God forgives humanity for its long history of violence and greed, Colossians 1:13-14, but he also calls us to forgive those who hurt us. This can feel hard. Does forgiving mean letting evil spread? Jesus says no. Revenge only fuels the cycle of pain. Forgiveness doesn't mean becoming best friends with those who harm you. It means letting go of the demand for absolute justice and praying for their well-being. Matthew 5:44. As Jesus teaches in Matthew 6:14-15, our forgiveness of others is deeply tied to the forgiveness we receive from God. It's like breathing, taking in, and giving out. Finally, Jesus prays, "Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil." This acknowledges that life is full of trials. Scripture tells us God appointed humanity as his representatives, but every choice comes with a whisper, tempting us to follow our own way. Genesis 3:1-6, Jesus teaches us to pray for protection from overwhelming trials, but he also knows daily life is filled with choices that force us to trust either God or something else. When facing temptation, we ask for protection from the enemy's lies, believing God will provide strength. 1 Corinthians 10:13, living Jesus' prayer. The Lord's Prayer isn't just words to recite, it's a way of life. Jesus himself lived this prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane the night before his crucifixion. He prayed, "Father, not my will, but yours be done." Matthew 26:39-42, facing death. He trusted God's will. Through his sacrifice and resurrection, he brought forgiveness and God's kingdom to earth, restoring his holy name. The Lord's Prayer invites us to make his story our story, to trust God daily, to love and forgive others, to join in uniting heaven and earth. The Lord's Prayer teaches us to pray for daily provision, but Jesus has more to say about trusting God over material wealth. Stay tuned for more insights in our upcoming posts. .com. If this struck something deep within you, click like. To spread light in a world wrapped in temptation, share it with a brother who might be needing freedom from their own lust trap. Comment below, what part resonated most? What are you ready to change now, AGE? And don't forget to subscribe to receive more content to help you live pure, strong, and triumphant daily. A true man isn't one who resists lust, he's one who starves it from the start. And you can do it starting today.